Hello everyone, good morning. I just want to do a quick video about my Hashimoto's thyroidism, which is an autoimmune disease that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. I originally started noticing a problem back in about 2015 after I had my second child, Ryan. I noticed that I started gaining weight a lot, and I just chunked it up to bad eating habits and just being inactive as far as exercising. I then later started getting into fitness a lot and eating better and just becoming more active. And I was doing everything great. I ended up losing weight, and I felt great. I looked great. I just felt amazing all the way around and looked amazing all the way around, in my opinion. And everything seemed to be going in the right direction. I continued doing the same thing, the regimen of working out and eating correctly and just watching what I eat, how much I ate, and just staying active. And then within a span of, I want to say 3 months, I went from 163 to 196 pounds. And at first I was just like, okay, maybe my body's just changing. Maybe I need to go harder at working out, or maybe I need to do more than what I'm doing to get results. But nothing seemed to be working at this moment in time. I started getting, my mood started changing. I started becoming like very aggressive verbally towards my spouse, my children, and it was just becoming a real toxic me. I was becoming very toxic myself. And I know me being toxic and being around others, it's just not, nobody wants toxic people around. So I eventually just started staying to myself and just not bothering with anybody, and would stay closed up for moments at a time, and just not say. I would go silent for days at a time, and just to keep from, because I knew I was toxic at that moment, and I just didn't want to spew that on others, even though sometimes I just couldn't control it. My husband kept saying, you need to go see what's wrong with you, yada this, and you know, I would get mad at him because I'm like, hey, like, what's the problem? Like, am I an issue to you? I eventually mustered up the courage to go ahead and go to the doctor. It was time for I take that back. I went to my well women exam. It was time for my well women. And I've been with him since I was 18. Dr. Miguel is amazing. I've been with him since I was 18. And he saw me. He was like, he looked at me. He's always straightforward. He's open. And he was like, oh my God, like, you gained so much weight. And we kind of just laughed it off. And then I was like, Dr. Miguel, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do in order to keep the weight off, and it just seemed not to be going anywhere. It's not doing anything. I'm eating right. I've, eating smaller meals, eating better, changed. I wasn't eating fried food. I wasn't eating, a lot of carbs, a lot of bread. I wasn't doing any of that. So he was like, okay, well, I'm going to run a few tests and see. He said it's going to be 1 or 2 things that are the most common. He was like, diabetes and thyroid. Now, at this moment, I was very ignorant to what thyroid was. I knew about diabetes because my grandmother suffers from it. I have some family members that I see suffer from it. So I knew what that was. But thyroid, I had only heard of it maybe once, maybe twice, because my uncle suffers with thyroid problems. I never knew about it as far as other people dealing with it. So I didn't think that it was anything that was hereditary anything, because I had only heard of one person, and he was my uncle, my mom's brother at that time. So I get my test, and then when my test come back, he was like, well, good news, it isn't diabetes. And then I was like, okay. And then he was like, but it is your thyroid. He said your thyroid levels are off the chart. I'm gonna have to send you to someone, send you to a specialist. I'm like, okay, that'll be fine. I go to the specialist, and he's checking me, and then he's looking at my numbers that were ran by my OB. And then his first question, he looks me dead in my face, and he was like, no one's ever told you had a thyroid problem? And I'm like, no, nobody's ever told me that. He was like, are you sure? He said, because looking at your levels, you have had it for a very long time. And so I started doing my research on what was thyroid and a lot of the symptoms that were going on. Now, I remember when I was younger and I had gained a lot of weight, and my mom chunked it up to me just being depressed because her and my father had separated, and she said I was just eating continuously. I was eating a lot. But then I remember when I got to middle school, I lost so much weight so quick. And my grandmother then would ask Mom, is she sick? Is she okay? And my mom was like, oh no, she's fine. She just started playing sports, which I did. I had started running track and playing basketball. So I became very much more active than I was when I was in elementary. Like, I was active in elementary, but when I became in middle school and started playing sports, that was a different type of activity level that I was doing. And so that's what we chunked it up to. I stayed thin for a very long time, like a very long time. I really didn't have a problem with my weight. I was always thin after I lost all that weight. Even after high school, I still was very thin. My weight would fluctuate. It'll go up and down, but my weight never got up to a point where it was a concern. And then I never got to a lower weight where I was concerned either. So everything seemed to me be fine. So then I started reading more about the symptoms, as far as like I used to have real bad migraines, and they were horrible to the point where like I would cry and lay on the floor and just in the dark. And I was reading like a lot of the teens that was suffering with thyroid because they found out when they were kids. As teenagers, they suffer with migraines really, really bad, and they just learned how to deal with them because they were having them so frequently. So a lot of just going back and reminiscing over the things that I was dealing with can now say that I probably did have it for a long time. The thing about thyroid, it's not anything that's tested like on a regular. Like, they don't really just, I'm gonna go test you for thyroid. That's not something they do. All the other blood work, but thyroid is never one that they really just test, that I found out as now that I'm older and I'm dealing with the situation. It's very hard to deal with it because I suffer from depression, I suffer from anxiety, I get overwhelmed a lot, I get frustrated a lot, and it's not because that's what I want to. And that's not only when I'm off my meds. Even when I'm on my meds, I still suffer. I can't sleep without medication. So it makes it very difficult for me, no matter how much my thyroid is managed. It makes it very, very hard for me to like function daily. And I don't think many people understand it. They just look at me and, even family, close friends, or just some people. I have a few that just really understand. But even though I see some that do understand, and it's like they still frown up or look at me a certain way, like, or when I see people who know I deal with this issue and they'll say, oh, you need to stay out the refrigerator, or, you know what I'm saying? Or it's just something, and of course we'll just like laugh about it, you know what I'm saying? But it really bothers me sometimes because I know how hard I try, and I struggle every day, and I know how hard it is with me struggling, and I don't want to struggle. I don't want to struggle. It's very hard for me. So I kind of take with stride what I can. Lately I've been doing like even more research because I just need to figure out a way to manage it better, even with medication. It's just really sometimes not working. Because when they first put me on the medication, of course I had to stay on it for 6 weeks before he redid my levels and everything. Both of my thyroid glands, my nodules in there were swollen on both sides. Both, because you have two thyroid glands. They're butterfly shaped in your neck. It controls your metabolism. It controls just about every function in your body outside your brain. You know what I'm saying? It functions like it. I get brain fog because I have memory loss. Like I don't remember things a lot. And my husband struggles with that because he'll be like, oh, I thought I asked you to do this or this and that, and I'll totally forget. And it's not that I'm forgetting on purpose. It's just that I honestly forgot, and I don't, and it's hard for me to explain that to some people because some people just assume that I'm just don't want to do something, and that's not even the case. Because I do forget a lot, and it's not like long-term stuff. It's like small things that I have a brain fog about. Like, it's really small things that I'll forget. I honestly just don't know, like, at this point, like, what else is there to do. Like, I've been doing my research on everything. So, like I said, back in 2015, when I found out I had the problem, I started going to my my specialist in 2016. He did his tests and stuff, so I stayed on my medicine for 6 weeks. Once I was on my medicine for 6 weeks, the doctor noticed that only one of my thyroid glands had shrunk, which was the right one. The right one was the only one that shrunk, but the left one didn't. So the left one wasn't really functioning. So I had to go through biopsy, which is sticking long needles in my neck, like if you're getting a shot, but they're sticking them in your neck, and they're taking out whatever tissues they need to take out, and they're sending it off to the lab. Once that was done and it came back, it was told that I needed surgery, that all the cells that were in my left thyroid gland and nodules were dead. And as many know, dead cells can be cancerous. So that was the main concern. We have to get it out. Okay, so I prepare, I set up, I get for surgery. He explained, if we take it out and it's squishy, then that it's a sign of cancer, because that means whatever cells in it start trying to force themselves out and all this different stuff. So I ended up having to go see an ears, nose, and throat doctor. And he explained everything. I had cameras going down. Every visit I would go see him, he would numb me because he had to stick a camera down my nose to go look in my throat, and just all types of stuff that was going on with me that I struggle with. And it came back that, so once I went and had my surgery and it was removed, it wasn't cancerous, but it turned out to have a tumor on the inside of it. So that was one of the reasons why I wasn't shrinking, because it was a tumor on the inside, which turned out to be cancerous as well, which is a big blessing. The only thing is, I'm left with one thyroid gland and only 2 calcium glands. We have 2 thyroid glands and 4 calcium glands. 2 calcium glands on each thyroid gland. They were trying to save the 2 on the left, but they couldn't, so there was nothing that I could do. So now I'm only left with 2. So right now, I'm not calcium deficient, but I'm vitamin D deficient. I have the thyroid problem. I have a trait of sickle cell, and I have the rarest blood, which is O negative. So I have a lot of stuff going on with me that medically is hard. So doing my research, I noticed that a lot of the foods that are good for us is not good for me, because it triggers my thyroid problem. It triggers it. And broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, certain, I have to be gluten bothers me bad. Certain fruits, certain nuts. It's just a lot of stuff that most people can eat and it's healthy for them, in return isn't so healthy for me. And it's very difficult to deal with, and I'm sure there are other people that go out and deal with stuff like this as well, but for me it's so difficult because I seem to lack interest in a lot of things. I see how it may affect others around me, and it's like I feel that they think that I'm purposely doing it just to say I don't want to do anything. Because me, I used to be like this bubbly person that was always outgoing, that was always dancing, that was always just having fun and just all that. And it's like now I feel like it has been snatched away from me, and I honestly sometimes don't know how to deal. I try my hardest every day to just try to figure it out, but it seems like a never-ending battle. Like, some mornings I can wake up and I look like I'm just slim, and then the next day I wake up, I look like I've been pregnant for 6 months, so it's very difficult, and it's something that I struggle with daily. I gotta go now, but I will come back and give you guys more detail as to my daily struggles and what I deal with, and just daily routines of daily life that just try to keep myself going. If you have any questions, like and comment at the bottom, and I'll be sure to answer those questions for you, whatever it is that you may, you might want to know about. Have a blessed day. Love on them babies. Whoever got babies, love on them babies. Your spouses, and just have a blessed day, everybody. God bless.